courageous, fearless, passionate, the true conservative voice of America.
He's bankrupting the country.
Sean Hannity, simply put, the right choice. Weeknights at 9.
The American people have spoken out loudly.
Hannity, only on Fox News Channel.
History is made in the Middle East today, but the long-term ramifications of this revolution still remain to be seen. Like President Obama, the president of Iran also reacted positively to the events in Cairo today, but quite obviously for entirely different reasons. Mahmoud Ahmadinejad argued this was good news because, quote, despite all the West's complicated and satanic designs, a new Middle East is emerging without the Zionist regime and U.S. interference, a place where the arrogant powers will have no place. So will the pro-democracy movement that sparked this rebellion in the first place prevail and spread throughout the Middle East. Joining me with reaction in Cairo, Egyptian businessman and protester Ahmed Fatawa, and in Phoenix, Arizona, the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. Guys, welcome to the program. Thanks for being with us. Ahmed, let me begin with you because you flew to Cairo. You were there today. They saw that you spoke English, and they wanted your opinion, and you gave a speech today.
Well, it was actually yesterday, and I would say that, first of all, I didn't come here as a protester. I came here as an observer. I came here to do my part because I felt it was important for the Western world to understand the diversity that exists there in Tahrir Square, that this is a real mosaic of many different people who compose Egyptian society, and to represent the Egyptian diaspora in that as well.
Let me get to the bottom line, though.
People here in Egypt to know that,
I'm not trying to cut you off, but we have a very short segment.
Go ahead.
What is likely to emerge here? We just heard our last debate. Does the Muslim Brotherhood have more power than people think? Is that a real fear? Or do you think this is a democracy movement and democracy prevails?
Well, let's put it this way. I think I was talking this morning to Nassim Taleb, the author of The Black Swan, and this is kind of the mother of all Black Swan events. We're joking, calling it the Black Camel event. No one really knows what happened here, how it happened, how quickly it happened, and what the consequences will be. But down there in the square, I can tell you that Iran played no role, that the Muslim Brotherhood had no influence down there. There are people down there that probably are representatives of the Muslim Brotherhood. They hope to have a voice in a pluralistic society, but I think this is very much a pro-democracy movement, and my hope is that it will be a secular movement with a discourse that allows everything to be out in the open rather than letting it fester below and create more and more chaos.
Let me go to Zuhdi and ask you this question. There was a Pew poll that came out among the people of Egypt. 85% say Islam's influence in politics is positive. Your reaction?
Well, yeah, Sean, I'll tell you, that's why we formed our organization. Is my family came out of that environment in Syria in the 60s, and so far, what Mubarak leaving is just starting a crack in that wall. What's behind that wall? It's been two fascisms. One is secular fascism of thugs like Mubarak or Suleiman, whoever follows him, and the other fascism is theocratic fascism, and that's all they've known. They didn't read books like I did growing up in the West of Jeffersonian democracy, so we need to get our hands dirty there and start promoting true liberty for every individual, because that's what the Egyptians want. We can't turn our backs to the ideas and principles that founded America and that families like mine came, because I'm able to do the work I do in America to try to separate mosque and state, to fight the Brotherhood, and you can't do that work in Egypt in that environment. The Brotherhood has an infrastructure, Sean, there because Mubarak let it have an infrastructure, and in a free Egypt it will start to fall away because the ideas of liberty will be victorious over theocracy and over secular fascism of Mubarak, Suleiman,
let me ask
and
you,
that whole
Zuhdi,
party.
this question, because I went back and I examined comments of our own government and promises that they thought, for example, the exiled Ayatollah Khomeini would be the next Gandhi. And there were news organizations in America like the New York Times that were very positive about the Iranian Revolution and the Shah being pushed out. They were proven wrong. So why, when people like myself look at these polls of the Egyptian people and see that they support Sharia law and harsh punishments, etc., do I not have a right to be concerned?
Absolutely, Sean. Not only do you have a right, you're very right to be concerned, because freedom activists, liberty-loving Muslims have not been supported by America. We've turned our back for this illusion of security, which Mubarak has allowed anti-Semitism, anti-Westernism to thrive. That your concern is right. However, the future of the Middle East, the future of our security is to counter those ideas. And right now, those ideas will fall away if we support the right people there.
Zuhdi, we're going to come back to you. Ahmad, I know you're in Cairo tonight, and you gave a speech. We want to get back to you and give you a chance to respond to all this. So, gentlemen, stay right where you are. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. A lot more coverage. And the influence of the Muslim Brotherhood. Is it possible that they could emerge as the political leadership there? That and much more straight ahead. Cairo, Egypt tonight is Egyptian businessman protested Ahmed Fatawa, and in Phoenix, Arizona, the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser. All right, Ahmad, let me go back to you. Because you're more confident that this democracy emerges. You were there today. You gave a speech today. Let me go over some of the numbers. Zogby poll that it was almost 2/3 of Egyptians told Zogby that life would improve if the clerics played a more central role in the political life of the country. 85% say Islam's influence in politics is positive. We have 84% say apostates who forsake Islam should face the death penalty. We got 7 out of 10 say they were positive towards Iran getting nuclear weapons. 80% want to abrogate the Camp David Accords. And we also have a significant number of Egyptians favoring, for example, half favor Hamas, and 1 in 20% favor Al-Qaeda. So if the elections take place, as you say, as you're on the ground, they're going to take place, if these are the poll attitudes of the people of Egypt, how do you explain your confidence?
Well, let me put it this way, or put it back to you. Ultimately, one of the linchpins of neoconservative policy making was the democratic peace theory, which is that democracies rarely go to war against each other. You can have pluralism of ideas, and over time, you will win the battle if you allow people to have open discourse. People have to be educated, and people have to have the opportunity to understand different ideas, and then you can poll them and see what they're really thinking. And that's why it's going to take some time to have the impact that we want to see. But I think that ultimately democracy will allow for other ideas to supersede those. And I would also add that those who respond to polls, usually are those who are more opinionated. You're here in a culture in Egypt where a lot of people don't like to talk politics up until now. And so it's only the most extreme who tend to speak. Those were not the opinions that I saw down at the square.
All right, Zuhdi, let me go back to you for a second, because the Muslim Brotherhood wants an Islamic caliphate. They want Sharia law, and it's not just for Egypt. It is worldwide. They've talked about the Muslim Brotherhood as this was unfolding now in recent weeks, prepare for war with Israel. Most people want an abolishment of the Egyptian-Israeli peace accord. So my question to you is, do you share the confidence that Ahmed is expressing here?
Well, I share, Sean, your concern, and I also share his confidence, because I believe in human nature is that we all believe in inalienable rights, and that ultimately when given a choice and given a free market of ideas, freedom and liberty will reign. And I think ultimately this is what the Egyptian people are asking for. Remember, Sean, under Mubarak, the seat of this learning, Al-Azhar University, has spread its ideas of Sharia and the Islamic State around the world. It has exported this idea to right now our greatest threat to our security is homegrown terror. Imam Awlaki's ideas and others have come out of that environment. Brotherhood comes out of its environment. If we're going to defeat them inside the House of Islam, we need to do like we did in Eastern Europe, where we built Poland, Czechoslovakia, Romania. We funded liberty movements there, and we can do the same thing.
We just recently had David Cameron, the Prime Minister of Great Britain.
There's something else that should be added.
Well, hang on. Let me ask this. David Cameron, Nicolas Sarkozy, German Chancellor Merkel have all said all the attempts at multiculturalism, and that means Sharia courts in some of these countries, and the banning of burqa more recently in Belgium and France, Ahmed, didn't work out.
Listen, I'd like to focus for a moment on Egypt. And the reality is what has happened elsewhere is not going to be a model. We're really in uncharted territory. You're dismissing the most important factor here. If you want to fight radicalism, what you need to have is economic opportunity. So that was ultimately what we need to be focusing on in the immediate future to foster enough growth domestically. People don't turn to extremism if they have the basic needs. And that's where we have to focus here.
Listen, I hope you're right. But if you're wrong, it will be a disaster for the Middle East, Israel, the United States, and the world. We'll watch. We probably won't know for a couple of years. Thanks, guys, for being with us. Appreciate your time. And coming up with Mubarak gone, could this man and his radical Muslim Brotherhood organization soon seize control of Cairo? We'll analyze the real threat, that, and much more coming up next.